The motto of the school is arte, ardore, honore, which means skill, passion, and honor.
This is something that dates back to when I was a youngster. I would have been about 8 or 9 and got hooked, I think, summarily by Marion Zimmer Bradley. She's to blame ultimately with her Darkover series. And in one fell swoop, it hooked me on longswords, red-tailed hawks, and Frisian horses. And that was that.
Well, when I was a kid, my parents had found a foil in an attic of an old house that they'd lived in, and they gave that foil to me. And I think my dad was very much into history and all that kind of thing too. And so I remember dancing around in the backyard when I was like between 4 and 6, playing with the foil, making up my own fencing moves and all that sort of thing.
It's been usually mostly something I wanted to do ever since I watched Lord of the Rings. I always just thought seeing them fight was always so cool. And whenever my friend Luca would come over, we would find long pieces of wood on the ground. We'd just run around their backyard and we'd just sword fight and make sure not to hit our sisters. It's pretty funny, and it was always kind of a really cool thing to do.
I really thought of myself as being very academically inclined, but not necessarily physically inclined. And it was something I really connected with. Wow, this is a physical skill that I'm really good at, and it really feels great to learn how your body can be powerful and strong and graceful. So I've certainly connected with it on a physical level, and I think there's a lot of satisfaction and joy you can get just from deriving mastery of a physical skill.
What is taught at Academy Duello primarily is rapier technique. Beyond rapier, we're also taught the longsword, which is my primary interest when it comes to swordplay. The first time they put a longsword in my hand, it felt eerily familiar, and that's all I can really say to you about that. Beyond longsword, we're also instructed in side sword, arming sword, and grappling techniques. This is Western martial arts.
The Academy is, it's obviously about swordplay, but it's also really about the idea of what it is to be a Renaissance noble or to be a knight. And so part of what I've really wanted to bring with it is the idea of what does it mean to practice Renaissance virtue? What does it mean to practice knightly virtue? So that is everything from the practice of integrity and charity, as well as just really and passion and valor and nobility and all these different things that knights ideally wanted to practice. And that's something that we hope that people can be inspired by now.
I pursue swordplay and falconry for their own sake and out of a love for them and a desire to understand quintessentially what these art forms are. To be able to express that would be brilliant.
Our goal, like you'll see on our shirts, it says modern swordplay, and that's something that we picked out very early in that I want people to practice Renaissance virtue and think about and connect with history, but I want them to connect with it now.
It feels kind of as if you're going back in time sometimes, because you're just kind of learning exactly what people used to do, and then it makes you kind of think how hard it was.
The athlete in me pursues it because it's a form of athleticism. The scholar in me pursues it because I am keeping a connection alive between the now and my ancestry. That gives a live wire right back through time.
I think you've kind of build your strength mostly, so when you have to do a lot of exercise, it's not as painful as it usually is, because you've been holding a sword for a whole hour, and you've been doing different kinds of exercise.
Through the practice of the art, there's obviously a lot of physical stuff that you get out of it. So you're going to build, your whole body's going to get strong doing this. But it's also, when a sword is coming at you, there is nothing more that keeps you mentally acute than saving your own life, even though there's no actual life saving required. It is, I think people become quicker mentally, they become quicker physically, they become more creative. It really teaches you to get more dynamic with how you think and approach situations. Swordplay is a great metaphor for for just how to approach things in life, and that you can't be too timid when you're sword fighting. You really got to go for it. You got to get comfortable with getting stabbed in the head once in a while.
You try and imagine yourself actually being there wearing the full bodysuit, and it's fun to imagine you're there right at that moment.
There is a place that you go to when you have a sword in your hand. If you surrender to it, it becomes the place where the physical component that you are, your body, is going to its edges. You're finding out how far you can go. You're finding out how far you can push. And it's brilliant. The connection, those fleeting moments where you, I'm there, and then you realize you're thinking about it, so you stop, right? But that's what they give you. That's what they give you.